What's up? This is going to be another update on SPIR Global, ticker symbol SPIR, just after earnings when they dropped like 25%. So what are my thoughts on it? So here's the reaction right here. So these are all some lines I drew beforehand. I didn't draw any of these after, but then what annoys me about this chart is I actually saw this coming and I didn't realize it. So if we scroll back, right, there's this gap over here. Sometime before earnings, I was thinking, let's see. So right now it's at around like $11. Would it drop? It will, I don't see it. It wants. Maybe it will fill this, but like this is like $4 below market, like 50%, like 33% below market. There's no way it's gonna refill that, right? And now you know. Always trust the lines. Always trust charts, right? Now you know TA isn't fake. It's not astrology. Trust charts. When there's a gap, it's gonna fill. I saw it. But okay. But the cool thing is, right, this gap was just filled immediately in one day, right? Which is absolutely, like, I didn't expect that to happen, but damn, that was fast. This is a much like healthier way to rise up rather than just gapping up in one bar. I think this is the 1 hour chart. Actually, also, this is pretty cool too, how this support line actually became a resistance line, and then this resistance line became a support line, and I just thought that was something cool to point out. So those are my thoughts on just the chart pattern, I guess the TA. We did drop all the way back down, filled up this gap, and then now we're rising back up more healthily, and we're probably, I'm assuming we're going to be in this channel for a bit. Now let's talk about the Analyst Ratings and like their adjustments. A few people did their adjustments, right? And now the average price target is about $18.20, and then the median is $20, right? So that's pretty cool because that's still almost 100% upside from here. We'll say 90% upside. I'm pretty sure these analysts are more qualified than I am at understanding the industry and understanding just their current environment. They did drop their price target, but then they never dropped their what is it called? Their call on it, I guess. So they're still buys, and they're still maintains, right? So they maintained all their ratings, right? So buy, outperform. So there's one thing I did want to say, which is Alliance Global Partners. They're the firm that helped basically broker the deal for the $14 direct offering, right? So I would say that if you tend to be more skeptical, this group has a reason to kind of pump the stock. So maybe we shouldn't include their rating, which I mean, I'm totally for. If you remove his rating altogether, then the average price target now becomes $17.25, which is still a $8 up from here, which is, I think, still 85%ish. So with this Brian Kinstlinger, the average target would be $18.20. Without him, it would be $17.25, if I remember correctly. $18.20 with $17.25 without. I guess I just wanted to say that just so that you kind of know everything that's on the table. You kind of see who clearly has a bone in the fight, right? Like, I'm really bullish. Like, I definitely have a bone in the fight, but then I just want to share kind of everything. I don't want to steer anyone wrong. So aside from that, what else did I want to talk about? Oh, okay. I think there's one bullish catalyst that might occur. For example, if we look at let's look at Dell. So Dell, sometime around here, got a shout out from NVIDIA saying that they were partners, right? And then this happened. Oh, whoops. And then that happened. Just for having like less than 5% of their business being with NVIDIA. We have confirmed evidence or confirmed articles saying that NVIDIA is working with SPIR for the NVIDIA is using their data, and then SPIR Global is using their AI models and their hardware. So if NVIDIA does give a shout out to SPIR Global, that could be something really bullish for the stock and the company itself, just for more recognition and all this stuff, right? I also wanted, sorry, I'm all going all over the place, but I also wanted to talk about just this price action for SPIR. I think this is really bullish. So this ticker right here, right? Yesterday when it dropped, these 4 tickers, that was a total of 2 million shares, right? 2 million volume, or I think it was 2 point something million volume, right? And that, I calculated, it should be about 1/8 of the total public float. So there's a few things. How I calculated this was I just looked over here. So 19.7 public float, right? And then we know that 2.1 million shares were sold in the direct offering for $14 a share. So I'm going to assume that they're not selling at a 33% haircut. There's also the 833,000 shares that were sold at $12 a share. And I'm also assuming they're not going to be selling at again, oh, I guess that one's a 33% haircut. So that's how I get this 16 million shares. I think that's really cool because that basically means that there's not actually much appetite to sell the stock. I think that this is really bullish how it rebounded so quickly, and it went back to this long-term trend line of just holding the stock. And I think whether or not it'll bust out, that's really difficult to say. It's also nice to see that as soon as it refilled this gap, it was eventually it slowly climbs back up. I'm not an expert on TA, but then there's some things I guess that are just pretty common, and gap filling is one of those things, right? Yeah, other than that, there's not too much new updates. I'm still holding stock. I bought a little bit. I bought a few shares at around like 860-ish, and I guess I'm glad I'm a dollar up now. That was a quick little trade. I think the next thing to look forward to is just those Nvidia earnings, and also to see SPIR Global during their earnings call did say that they have a few big name partners that they're working with. They didn't specify who. When they're able to like say those names, is going to be quite fun, quite interesting, and I can't wait. So again, like I'm not like I don't hate the company or anything, right? Like I was just disappointed in their transparency. Everything else was perfectly fine. Another thing I wanted to share with I guess just retail in general is one thing to look for when you're kind of picking a stock is look at the articles that are coming out and see where the majority of them lean towards, right? If the majority of the articles are leaning more bullish, or if the majority of the new articles coming out are more bearish, right? That skew basically just tells you, obviously articles that are coming from like analysts, and not articles that are coming from like just retail investors and stuff like that, right? So that skew, that difference, basically tells you where big money is placing their bets on. Recently, I have been seeing a lot more articles that are leaning more bullish, which is really also reassuring, and also kind of adds to my conviction in that I'm basically on the same side of a bet that a lot of big money is as well, right? I don't see many bearish articles, and that does give me a little bit more confidence. Yeah, so even though the shares did drop like 25%, I'm still really bullish, especially after the climb up yesterday and also a little bit today. I do see this trend line here, so I do want to like look back here and just look at this long-term support. Maybe I'm not seeing anything. If you guys can spot anything with this chart that maybe I'm not seeing, that would be really cool. Maybe you could draw a line like from here to there. That might be something to look at. Let's see. That might be a line too. Actually, that might be a better line. We'll see how that goes. I'll keep that in green. Oh, that looks like a pretty promising line actually. So we'll see here whether or not I can break through this. Again, a lot of it might depend on like their incoming news, what partners they're working with. Also, just keeping an eye out on that Nvidia earnings call, because if you do remember a few months back, or a few weeks back, few weeks, we'll say a few weeks back, this spike was because Nvidia shouted them out during their conference, right? So yeah, those are just some of the updates, some of the things that have been going through my head. If anyone has any other comments or anything that I've missed, please let me know. I would love to be enlightened. That's it. Have a good one.